Welcome back to the Sports Zone on Salford City Radio. Now we're going to be talking football. James, Man United, they were 2-1 winners against Everton at the weekend. Good result for Mourinho's men.
Yeah, I'll take it. Obviously, we discussed last week that United had a troubled start to the season, but as I said, they seem to be in a good run of form now that Juventus defeat aside. In bulk, I think they played quite well. I thought the Pogba penalty was slightly ridiculous. My heart was in my mouth as he walked up to the penalty spot at a very, very slow pace, and he nearly missed it.
Yeah, I think with penalty takers, you've got to score if you're going to start messing about going up to the ball. And luckily, he popped the rebound in. But can you imagine the stick he'd have got if he missed?
Oh, it'd have looked very silly. Well, he got a lot of stick, even though it went in the end anyway.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
He would have been in a lot of trouble.
Can you imagine Jose Mourinho's face, Joe, as Pogba goes back into the changing room after that penalty miss?
I certainly wouldn't want to be Pogba. I don't get it. I know he's trying to put off the goalkeeper, but his penalty record's not the greatest anyway. So,
but he is a world class player, isn't he, James? And you know he can do things like that because he's also got class in him.
Oh yeah, he's one of the best in the world. I think a lot of people like to look down on Pogba, but I still think he's a very, very, very good player. And yes, he does have the skill set to pull that sort of move off, but for me, it's too big a risk that very nearly backfired, and in future, I'd like him just to take a more simple approach.
As in, just run up and whack it.
As in, just run up and kick the ball.
Yeah, the thing I kind of do whack it, but maybe whack it too hard and go over. That's my kind of penalty record. Not the best penalty taker in the world. Are you any good at penalties?
I'll be honest with you, I've taken 2 and both were saved, so potentially being a bit hypocritical myself here. Not the best penalty taker, that's why I played at the back.
Right, 2 missed with a good penalty saved by the goalie, or 2 badly taken penalties?
1 tremendous penalty, just well saved. The second, just an abysmal, terrible penalty straight at the goalkeeper.
How about you, Joe? What's your penalty record?
I think I took one in the year 10 in a semi-final.
Yeah.
I just put my foot through it right down the middle.
Scored.
Centre half, goalkeeper in school. So
this is why we have moments like that.
Yeah,
you know?
I just went through people.
You
could do it then. In fact, 8 years.
Yeah, back in the 80s.
You could do it 8 years ago. You didn't get sent off for double footing.
No, you can't. You can't do that thing. Football's moved on now, Joe.
I won't last 30 minutes on the football field.
Back to Man United, James. Bournemouth Saturday, half-12 kick-off at home. Winnable game, that one.
Yeah, obviously Bournemouth have had a better run this season than they were expected to have had, but I still fancy United to get the job done. Yeah, they beat Fulham 3-0 at weekend, but you know they are kind of near the top, round about United's area in the table, aren't they? So well, they are. I think they're above United at the moment, but I still feel in this current run of form that United seem to be on, you know, in the Premier League. Newcastle, Chelsea and now Everton. 3 good games for them. I feel that they should be getting the win here. Yeah, talking about wins, Man City played Tottenham, Joe, and won 1-0 at Wembley. Good result for them, considering the conditions they played in.
Yeah, good ugly win it was last night for City. It shows a bit of maturity about the side now, where last season before Pep came in, they would get a bit nervous and they get a bit frustrated by things not going right for them. And last night they had their opportunities. Spurs had their opportunities as well, and they just kept it to 1-0. And quite fitting, Riyad Mahrez scored, and nice ugly win and keeps them joint top.
I think winning ugly, James, that's what makes good teams great.
Well, you say you're at the best when you play badly and still manage to win the game. So, as I said, Manchester City first, Tottenham were in 4th, and you need these big wins to stay at the top of the table. Mahrez scored early and they just held it out. Very professional performance. Yeah, what about the pitch at Wembley though? Jacksonville Jaguars played the night before, cut it all up. Wasn't pretty, was it? No, it wasn't great. I played on better pitches at Sunday League level, so that's all I have to say on the matter. Yeah, it was pretty poor, Joe, especially Premier League. You know, 2 top teams in the Premier League, you want the conditions to be perfect, and unfortunately it wasn't.
It's Tottenham's fault at the end of the day. They didn't get the stadium done in time. Wembley, well, the FA or Wembley booked the NFL there to be there the night before. You can't change 2 teams, so they had no choice to play.
Yeah, I think it was poor. I think it was really poor, but unfortunately, Wembley have got to take the money, haven't they, James? And you know, if Jacksonville Jaguars throw a few million at them to say, "Can we play at this stadium?" They've got to balance it better for me. Yeah, it's a shame, really, because you don't want money to be more important than the conditions of your pitch and other such matters like that. So it's trying to get that right balance, really. Yeah, it's a problem. I suppose it's modern football, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I just think it goes back. A lot of Tottenham fans and a lot of pundits were saying, and Neville and Carragher said it last night, that if Tottenham Stadium's kept to their timeline, they would have been in there. It would have been no problem. So, can you blame anyone?
I don't know. I think when you're building stadiums or building any kind of structures, these things you say it's going to take whatever 2 years, but it normally goes on a bit longer. And I think you've got to kind of schedule it to open it, at the beginning of a season rather than halfway through a season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've read today they took another, is it 300 million
to fix it up?
So it's like nearly 550 million.
Wow, it's a lot of money. Yeah.
So that's not. I know they signed Dele Alli again on a
6-year contract. Might be finished by the time that's done, maybe.
So that just puts his price tag up. That's the only reason for that. He won't be there in 2 years.
You never know. Salford City, Joe, your second favourite team. Another draw at the weekend. What's going on there?
Don't know. Not turned up for 3 weeks.
Is that a problem, do you think?
I think last Saturday before in the FA Cup, they won 2-1 and apparently they created chances, didn't take them. Saturday was quite the same against Owlsford. They couldn't string 4 passes together. But it was a bit better than Baintree the week before last. We couldn't string 2 passes together then, but we're in a bit of a bad spell at the minute. But like you say about City, good size, still unbeaten, now in 15, so you still need to be there or thereabouts at this time. Still picking up 1 point. 1 point's better than nothing. Sitting in second now, so it's still good. But Alexander's picked the same side tonight as he has done for the past 7 league games, and they've not turned up for the past 3.
Yeah, all this huffing and puffing Joe's doing here. It's difficult being a fan, but they have one. Is it 16 on the run at the moment? 16 unbeaten.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Well, putting 16 back-to-back is extremely impressive, and obviously you're still second in the table, so you have to take that. Salford, unfortunately, are in a bit of a lull of form at the moment, but it's up to the fans now to get behind them and cheer on the team going forward.
This is true. Other news involving the squad, Nick Norton's left to join, is it Filed, and Dennis Politic.
Good effort, yeah.
Comes in on loan till the end of January. What do you think of that signing?
Yeah, he got a 25-minute run out on Saturday. He looks sharp, he looked good. He's come from Bolton. He's only 18 years of age, but he's playing in the under-23s at Bolton, so he's playing 2-3 years above his quality, and it's a big ask for him to come in and play with men. From the difference from even 23s to a first team, be it in the conference, and you could tell when he came out on and out and played on the left side. He was step above some of our midfielders, and the Elbsfleet defenders didn't know how to handle him. So he's a player that likes to run at people. That's what we've kind of been missing with Redshaw being out all season, and he worries defenders just off Saturday. So it's nice to see someone a bit more enthusiasm and more running. Hopefully get a couple of goals and hopefully we can keep him. Yeah,
Barnett tonight. She's got us team news there for you, Joe.
Yeah, he's kept the same side with Neil in goal, Wiseman and Torres, your full-backs, Kyle Piagiani and Nathan Pond at centre-half, Mark Shelton and Danny Whitehead sitting in the middle, Danny Lloyd and Tom Walker out wide, and Roy Gaffney and Captain Adam Rooney up front. So it's the same side it's been for the past 7 league games, so they know what they're doing, but I think the midfield needs a bit shaking up for me. Shelton's not turned up. He's still learning. Tom Walker's still learning, very young professionals. So I think they need to bring a bit more experience in today and try and get a sizable win and get a bit of confidence back.
Yeah, good luck to Salford City FC. Just before we start talking about other sports, James, the sad news about Leicester City's chairman losing his life in a horrific helicopter accident. Our thoughts are with his family and friends at this time. How sad is it really for being a Leicester fan, also a football fan?
Well, it's absolutely tragic, obviously, what happened. And he was a man who did a hell of a lot for the club. I know he donated over £1 million to the medical department. He regularly threw picnics at Leicester Hospital for the children. And he gave a lot of money to Leicester Foxes Foundation. So it's a sad loss for his family, it's a sad loss for the club, it's a sad loss for the whole of the footballing community, and of course for the other people who lost their lives. I want to say a special well done to the pilot who managed to hold his nerve together, and he actually prevented the loss of lives of over 100 people. So well done to him for keeping his name in such a tragic time.
Yeah, it's such a sad story, and football all around the world, even with Glenn Hoddle as well, suffering a heart attack as well. It's really a sad time.
Yeah, Saturday was a bit of a strange day for football. I watched the Leicester West Ham game on the Saturday night, and even Jake Comfrey was a bit shocked, and he didn't know because Glenn Hoddle's a friend, and there's also a football fan that lost his life at Brighton as well at the 3:00 game. So it was quite a bit of a strange day for football, but as always, when tragedies happens, fans will come together, the football community will come together, and it'll be hard for him on Saturday against Cardiff, but I'm sure the Cardiff fans and the Leicester fans will come out in force and give him the send-off that he deserves.
Yeah, that's what football's all about, hopefully. More smiling and cheering than sadness this weekend, James.
Yeah, obviously football fans like to give each other a bit of stick every now and again, but when an incident like this happens, we all come together and it shows the humanity in the game.
Yeah, so that's our football chat for this week. And next up on the Sports Zone on Salford City Radio, we're going to be talking to Paul Whiteside about all the boxing and all the rugby league this weekend. Welcome back to the Sports Zone on Salford City Radio. Now we're going to be talking boxing. We've got Paul Whiteside on the phone ready to talk about all about that, James, but it's been a really busy week for the boxing world.
Yeah, it has, and it was quite heartbreaking for Manchester-based boxing fans. Unfortunately, last week we previewed Hughie Fury and Terry Flanagan's big fights, and unfortunately, neither of them were able to get the wins, but they were both courageous efforts. Firstly, Paul, Hughie Fury was inched out by Kubrat Pulev in Sofia, Bulgaria. What did you make of the fight?
Yeah, well, just mentioning there about the predictions I made last week. I hope nobody put money on that, because I was let you down with my two predictions. But yeah, the Hughie Fury was he missed his chance there to secure a shot at Anthony Joshua, didn't he? And quite a wide points decision as well, unanimous defeat. I think it was 117, 111, 118, 110, and the other one was about two rounds in the other one. So it was a disappointing night for him. Really, that cut he got early on, I think, caused him problems with brave performance, but I think a disappointing one against Pulev, who now gets his chance against Joshua.
Yeah, you mentioned there that Hughie got cut, and it came in the third round. I heard Peter Fury say in an interview that the cut came just a couple of weeks ago, and they were debating whether to have the fight or not. In the end, they decided that they had to, and of course, it was an issue early. Do you think if the cut hadn't have happened, we could be looking at a different result?
Yeah, well, cuts affect boxers in all different ways, don't they? It's psychological a lot of the time. It's there, and it can be off-putting to say the least. But just going back to what you said about he knew about the cut, and it's something that's probably opened up again. But those sort of chances don't come along very often, do they? So if he had pulled out on that, who's to know when he'd have got that chance again to climb up the rankings? And that fight was a massive fight against Pulev, and I'm sure Hughie will get the chance again. He's only 23, 24. He's only young, so these fights are going to. It's a massive division at the moment, the heavyweight division, especially in this country as well. There's some big fights, some big fighters, and I'm sure Hughie Fury is going to be is going to get these fights and these big bills and these big nights again.
Yeah, you mentioned his age there. He's only 24, of course. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook and other forms of social media who are very keen to write him off already. But do you think that's just far too premature at this stage?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were trying to write. If you remember back a few years ago, Tyson Fury, people were writing him off. I remember reading something on all sorts of social media platforms about how poor he was, and you look at him now, and he just goes to show he's been in there. Not many people have done what he did to Vladimir Klitschko, have they? So I think people say things sometimes, and what you got to remember is a lot of these people have never stepped in a boxing ring. And this day and age now of social media, it's very easy for people to get on a platform and criticise people. But no, I think Hughie Fury will come back, and he'll be back in the ring. I would have thought in the new year, and he'll be getting those fights again. As for Terry Flanagan, it's 2 defeats on the spin now for Terry, and after such a great start to his career, he's come up short twice, but against 2 world-class operators, and Terry, there's still some big fights out there for Terry. And as we mentioned last week about the fight, I think everybody wants to see perhaps taking on Anthony Crolla in an all-Manchester battle. I don't think that'll be too far away, but it was disappointing for Terry because he's a good boxer, been a good champion, been a world champion as well, and hopefully we can see Crolla and Flanagan getting those world titles back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you're right. Crolla would be a great fight in the not-too-distant future. But going back to that fight with Regis Prograis for Terry Flanagan, I felt the commentary was slightly harsh on Terry. I thought he was more in the fight than it was made out to be. But he was knocked down towards the end. But do you think it showed a hell of a lot about his character that he was able to get up and make it to the final bell?
Yeah, certainly. He's a brave boxer, isn't he, Terry Flanagan? I mean, there's not many boxers who'll go 33 fights unbeaten in the career like Terry did, and he's fought some good fighters along the way as well. And all right, he's come up short in his last 2 fights and gone down on points, but you know, he's won a world title. They don't hand those out for fun, and he's as brave as they come, heart of a lion, and you know, I'm sure he'll be back as well. And let's not forget, Regis Progress is a good fighter. He's in home soil as well. It's hard to go away and get the decision, and you know, you get your commentary in America, and you know, without being too harsh on the Americans, you know, I think they tend to give us a hard time, don't they, especially when we go fighting in their backyard. But you know, all hats off to Terry. You know, he'll go and fight anybody anywhere in the world. That's what he's done. He's tested himself, and now it's back to the drawing board, but I'm sure he'll bounce back.
Yeah, so you mentioned you'd like to see the Crawler fight for Terry, but who would you like to see Hughie Fury get in the ring with next?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I suppose for Hughie, he's not going to be stepping back down to the British level. He's going to be looking at, you know, at world fights, isn't he? So I don't know then. I won't like to say. What about you? What do you think?
I'd like to see him operating in and around European level now for a couple. Maybe an Ajit Kabayel or somebody like that.
Yeah, I think the fights are there. Definitely. I mean, it's interesting now for Anthony Joshua. I mean, it's funny how he's going to fight Pulev now. He'll be the mandatory for him. And if you think back to, I think it was last year, Pulev was set to fight Joshua then until he pulled out injured, and I think it was Carlos Takam that took his place. So I think Pulev deserves his chance at Joshua. I can't see him causing Anthony too many problems. But as for Hughie, I think there's definitely big fights out there for him. He's an exciting guy to watch, and I think he'll get those fights in the near future.
So the World Boxing Super Series continues this weekend with Josh Taylor versus Ryan Martin and Ryan Burnett versus Nonito Donaire up in Scotland. Are you looking forward to that?
I certainly am, yeah. I mean, the two quality fighters there. I mean, Josh Taylor, I mean, his last fight, I thought it was tremendous. He does look a step above. He really does, for a young guy as well. And Ryan Burnett, another one. The two guys who look like you can tell sometimes classy operators, and they are at that world level. And I expect them both to do really, really, really well this weekend.
So it looks written in the stars now, obviously, with Regis Prograis advancing from his quarter-final. Josh Taylor fighting this weekend. They're on opposite sides of the draw. It looks like they could meet in the final. So who would you have to pick in that one?
I really like Josh Taylor. I've seen quite a lot of his fights, and he's an exciting guy to watch. As I said before, classy operator, very quick hand speed, brave lad as well, tough as they come. I'd like to see him win it. I really would.
Yeah, that was a very exciting weekend. It's going to be super exciting, all the boxing around the corner, Paul. Yeah, it's been a great show. Big thanks for coming on, Paul, and talking all things boxing and rugby.
My pleasure, anytime, guys. Thanks for having me.
Another great show from you, James. Really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoyed this one. Looking forward to this weekend's events and discussing them later down the line.
Cheers. Big thanks for joining us, Joe. Another great show.
Yeah, another great show. Be back next week to talk all things football and rugby league.